I finally got to a point where I know what the purpose of this video is. As I said in one of the previous takes, which you guys won't know because you didn't see it, I was talking about the fact that it's gotten to the point in the last year or two where my original process would, I'd turn on the camera, I'd begin slowly, and then the idea of what I wanted to talk about would formulate as I was talking, and then I'd express it, and then I'd go. And anybody who's watched my videos over time know that sometimes it takes a few minutes for me to get to the point, and that's usually because I'm formulating it as I speak. You know, I'm talking, and as I'm talking, I'm listening to what I'm saying, and even though at the end of it I don't know anything that I've said, because it's all stream of consciousness, it's a complicated process that really sort of sounds contradictory. Anyway, so I've done about 6 takes tonight, each one of them being anywhere between 12 and 5 minutes long. And like I said in the previous take that I did, hey, email, the previous take that I did is that what I'm going to do eventually is I'm going to, instead of deleting the previous takes, what I'm going to do is I'm going to record all like I normally do, and then once I get my final thing together, I'll do it. And then I'll make a video where I'll splice bits and pieces of all the different takes so you can see just how many digressions and different subject matter I touch on. Because once I start talking and my brain starts rolling, then eventually I cross a new threshold and I start talking about that. And after about 8-9 minutes of going into it, I realize that this really isn't the direction I wanted it to touch on, and then I stop and I start over. So the very last video that I recorded, I had talked about not freedom of speech, because that's not exactly the correct statement. What I was talking about was the beginning. The whole reason why I picked up the camera and wanted to record today was I was watching videos on the different channels, and I had come across this one video on YouTube where it was a recording of some guy who was trying to videotape this politician, O'Donnell, I think is her name. There was a rally that had taken place, and he was trying to record it. The problem is that there was another person who was standing directly in front of his camera and wouldn't let him record. Every time the guy with the camera would move, the guy who was standing in front of him would move. And this went on, and at one point the guy actually put his hand on the lens of the camera. Now, we're not talking about, like, you know, NBC or Fox or any other major affiliations. This is just some random dude with his own handheld camera. Now, granted, he might have been making a video talking smack about the politician. Oh, she's stupid, and her anti-masturbation platform, and blah, blah. I mean, he could have been saying God knows what. However, the reason why I got irritated and angry was because this asshole was preventing another person from his right to free expression. You know, it's that kind of censorship. It's that kind of bullshit that I don't tolerate. I can't stand that. I mean, I'm watching the video, I got that anger that develops in my chest every time I see something like this happen, where I really wanted to hit the dude in the face. I wanted to take a bat to the side of his fucking head. And I know, and I never will. I'm not going to actually physically violently do something, but that's the kind of feeling that kind of behavior inspires, where somebody is enforcing their will on another human being. I've never, ever, ever felt that was right. You know, I understand that there are a lot of people out there with different opinions. I understand that a lot of those opinions I may not agree with. I may think are detrimental to the health and well-being of America as I see it, or the world for that matter. I may completely disagree with their philosophy and think that they're just the worst thing that could possibly ever come out of someone's mouth. But I would never, in a million years, stop that person from doing or saying what it is that they wanted to say. If they were doing something to hurt another person, if they were enforcing their will on another human being, then yes, I would feel that something needed to be done physically to prevent that. But if dude just wanted to get up and talk about how much if he wanted to make a video that's 20 minutes long and talk about how much I suck and how you should not listen to me and I'm ignorant and stupid and inbred and all that stuff, you know, I think that the person should have whatever right they have to say. Because at the end of the day, it's all opinion. That's exactly what it is. It's all opinion. But just watching this event happen and realizing this is not new. This is not new. In every spectrum of the political body, within the last, since I can remember, since Clinton, and it's probably happened before that too, but it's become more prevalent because videos have become more prevalent, and therefore it's something that people can witness instead of actually having to be an eyewitness. Now you can just turn on the internet and have access to footage that you would never see otherwise, but except for the places where they actually take the cameras from people, and it's starting to come back. It's actually become illegal to film policemen. You know that? It's become illegal to film the activity of policemen. That's fucking insane. Anyway, the point being is that, you know, since the Clinton administration and forward, political bodies, political representatives have had brute squads go forward and stop people from videotaping. Stop, like, enforce their physical will. You're not allowed to record this. We're in a political platform. You are a public servant, but I'm not allowed to record it. And they would physically grab the camera or cover the camera or physically intimidate people. You know, and that angers me to no end. To witness this is what happens. You know, the freedoms that this affords me, this intimate relationship between the camera and I, where I'm in my house and I can post it online. But if I were to go out to that rally and have some dude stop me from recording, step in front of the camera and stop me from recording, I'm not exactly sure how I'd react, to be honest with you. I don't know if I would basically, you know, politely say, look, you can either get away from me or I'll be back with a policeman and then you can explain to him why you're accosting me, or kick him square in the fucking nuts. I don't know what I'd do. I really don't. But I know what I was inspired to do. I know what that kind of behavior caused in me, what kind of a reaction it caused in me. You know, and I've got damage. I've got a lot of damage. Damage that I don't feel like explaining right now. But the reason why I bring that up, it's not because I'm going for some sort of deviation into mental illness, but I'm not a physically violent person. You know, I don't go and I don't punch people in the mouth. I don't physically accost people. I can't. There's a reason for that. And that in itself stops me from being more of a radical in terms of taking on the machine. Because when you take on the machine, you have to be ready to get your skull cracked open. You know, the people in power are the ones that have the power. They're the ones that have the guns. They're the ones that have the billy clubs. They're the ones that have the tear gas. They're the ones that silence voices. Because those voices are contradictory to what they want. They're the dissidents, you know. And I can't be the radical that I would be, or I'd be inspired to be. I'd be more active because of the violent reaction to it, you know. Until I'm a part. Maybe if I'm a part of a larger thing. But even then, if you've seen in the last decade, you know, through the Bush administration, where people have become more and more riotous, where people have gone into the streets and rallied, and tear gases and fucking assault squads of the local police forces beating down and locking up protesters. You know, it moves from being a peaceful protest into violence inspired by, you know, instigators. Sometimes people are just too, you know, they go out with the agenda of wanting to get violent, and it causes problems for everybody else. Or they have people that infiltrate groups and start the stuff so that they can have a reaction and quell the distension, you know. And some might say that that's being a little bit paranoid, but I don't think so. I honestly think that the political machine maintains itself, and I think that it'll use any means necessary, guerrilla tactics or otherwise, to do so. It's easy to bend the will of the media when the media is part of your, you know, it's an appendage on your body. You can use the news to warp the minds of those that watch it. People that weren't there don't know. How many times have you heard stories about bogus media stories that were put out? How many times have you heard stories about stories? You know, bogus media covering. Jesus, where'd my fucking vocabulary go? Where, you know, circumstances where the news covers a story that isn't true, or it's been manipulated. I mean, we've gotten to that point, and I've been babbling at you for, what, a good 10 minutes just for this one? Yeah. I actually got to a point where I had something that I wanted to say, and it was this. I don't understand the world that we live in. I haven't understood it. I haven't understood it. I haven't understood it my entire life. I've never been able to match well because it just doesn't make sense to me. The behaviors and ideas and attitudes don't make any sense to me unless I accept the fact that it's all about money. And then in which case it's easy to understand. Somebody's making a buck. It's just that simple. So yeah, that's pretty much it. I started off this entire video chain talking about how I didn't have the desire to vlog anymore because, and then I gave a bunch of different reasons why. One of them being that I actually had somebody send me a message telling me that my last video depressed them. And that's just a taste of the response that I get from people, different people that watch the stuff, and they talk about how negative I am because the subject matter that's prevalent in my life tends to be darker. because whenever I'm talking or when I'm doing something like this, it's a desire to vent, in a sense. You know, people go out and they drink, or they go out and they play basketball, or they go out and they do stuff. Me, I talk. I talk out how I'm feeling so that I can get it out of my system, or at least put it out enough that I can I can clamp down the boiler, so I don't overboil and end up putting a bullet in my brain or the brains of other people. Right? That's why I do this, and that's my way of coping. My way of dealing is by talking. It just happens to be that the things that put me in that direction are things that are negative. I see the world as a fucked up place, you know, and a lot of people out there disagree. They say the world is only fucked up if you look at the fucked up things. That there are beautiful things too, and sure, there are beautiful things out there. The problem is that those beautiful things aren't what make the world go round right now. Because if that were the case, we wouldn't be where we are. And of course, the argument to that could be, well, you know, that's the reason why we are the way we are, is because those things aren't the most prevalent. And once again, you're making my point for me. Talking about happy-go-lucky things, people don't want to change happy-go-lucky things. People don't want to try and make the happy-go-lucky things become better, or make them good. What they want to do is they want to share them. The reason why people talk about negative things is because they want to change them. They want to make them go away. They want to make them better so that it isn't negative anymore. All the good stuff that you have in life is good, but it doesn't stop you from living. All the negative stuff that you have in your life is bad and can stop you from living. So, anyway, that's pretty much it for me, I think. Just a rambling vlog and whatnot. So, until next time.